Hello, welcome to Duncan Egg Bricks and to another Hogwarts update. I know it's been a little while since my last one, but I have been getting the pieces together for this one. Got my final bricklink order today, so I have all the pieces here so that I can build the Gryffindor Common Room. Just so you know where this is going to be, I'm continuing on from the previous part. If you haven't watched that, then I will try and put a link in the corner. That was the divination classroom, which also included a corridor on the ground floor, which I said was going to lead towards the Gryffindor Common Room, or the portrait of the Fat Lady. So we're going to be building that, as well as the main common room with all the details you'd expect, the fireplace, the sofas, little things like that. That's all going to be on one floor, and then in the next update, we're going to be building the dorms, which is the floor above. I've split them up like this just because there's quite a lot to get through, and I didn't want to make the video too long. So, as you can see, I've got all the pieces here in front of me. I've actually gone ahead and sorted them by piece type. So you can see we've got all the plates in there, all the bricks in there, arch pieces here. Did it this way instead of by colour, just because that's how I sort my pieces normally. And since there are quite a lot of them, I wanted to be able to just get my hands on them quite quickly. So I've got the plans up on my laptop. Don't have building instructions for this as such, so I'm just going to follow the digital model that I've created. So where better to start than on the ground floor? Here's the basic outline of the floor. You can see that I've got an 8x16 plate here, an 8x8, and then a 6x8. So that's a total length of, someone do the maths for me, I think that's 30, if I'm not completely wrong. And then you can see at the corners, we've got the beginnings of some turrets. So there's one down here and one up here. They're both 6 studs in diameter at the bottom. In the actual Hogwarts, or in the model, although things don't always match up between the model and the sets. This tower over here would be the divination tower, so otherwise known as North Tower in the book, and I've actually not included that as part of the divination classroom, which sits just here. I originally actually did have the divination classroom including this little bit here, so the sort of 8 studs width here, and then this was where the Gryffindor house dorm and common room were, but I decided actually it made more sense like this, make better use of the space, and I think it looks better overall. The reason I've orientated these curved plates and these wedges like this is because this side over here is going to be the kind of main viewing angle, so I wanted that nice curve on the front, and you might be able to see down to there, so I thought I'd put the curve there, and then this will be at the back so you won't see it as much. Right, I think the best thing to do would be for me to go and get some bricks down to connect all this together, bricks and plates I should say, so we've got the bottom level completed, and then I'll show you a little bit more about where the different pieces are going to be. Right, so all the pieces are connected now. You can see the general outline. Here is where the portrait of the Fat Lady is going to be, and it's going to swing inwards, so you can actually get into the common room just here. I'm then going to have a fireplace at the back there, complete with the Gryffindor quest. There's going to be a little desk over here, going to have sofa and an armchair, and then a table with some bits and bobs on it, and a little bookcase over here. One thing I did experiment with was actually having a staircase at this end that would spiral around and up to the dormitories up above. Now, I did try that a few times and in a few different ways, but unfortunately I couldn't actually come up with something that I really liked. So I decided to leave that out, and you know, I don't have staircases all around the castle. In fact, I've basically just got one in the grand staircase tower. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's that important, and if it takes away from the kind of atmosphere of the build that I'm trying to create, then I'm not too bothered about including it. The technique I'm using for the towers is very similar. In fact, it's almost exactly the same as what I used in my viaduct entrance building. So there's going to be a lot of brackets and a lot of 2x2 curved slopes in tan, along with a few other scattered colours. And that's going to hopefully get me the look that I want. I did consider using the the sort of 6x6 cylinder, but the half piece of that, if you kind of know what I mean, but that did unfortunately not look quite right, so I'm going to use that elsewhere. Anyway, I think the most important thing would be to get the floor details in and then start building up those walls and those towers and get a proper structure going. There's some of the detailing on the floor. I've gone with this pattern of dark red and regular yellow. I did think about using the flame yellowish orange, or whatever colour you want to call that, but I decided to go with regular yellow as I think that matches some stickers that I'm going to be using, and also for another reason, which is that this hinge, or this turntable I should say, the base of it comes in yellow, and I wanted that so it could actually continue the pattern. These quarter tiles on the top here, quarter circle tiles, are actually in bright yellow, orange, yellowish orange, and that is for the reason that that's where the fat lady's going to go, and I wanted to continue the frame for the painting in a similar way to how I've done with other paintings in my castle. What I've actually done is I've created a 3D version of the fat lady. This was actually inspired by a post I think I saw on Reddit, someone who'd made a version of this already. It's just using a Princess Leia torso and actually a Princess Leia head at the moment. I do want to swap that out for something that looks like it's singing, and then I've just used one of these modified bricks with the grooves on the vertical side to represent the skirt. It's just so it can fit on a 1x2 space there inside this half cylinder piece, which also comes in bright yellowish orange. I'm going to call it loads of different things. I've just put a flower in the hair there. That's the hair that Hermione uses in the Yule Ball. So I've got a couple of those because I've got the advent calendar. In fact, I had 2 of the advent calendars, so I've got duplicates of that. And then I've just put a clear goblet in her hand there, just a reference to that scene in Prisoner of Azkaban where she's trying to shatter it with her voice. It would have been nice to actually get a sticker of a background to put inside there. There's sort of a kind of Greek-inspired landscapey background behind her in the film, so I'll keep an eye out for that, but I'm not too bothered at the moment. The way this is going to be fixed on is that 2 of the studs are just going to sit on the turntable there, and then when you swing this like this, there's going to be an arch in front of there. It can actually push through slightly, but with the arch in place it hopefully won't. And then you'll see the edges and the bottom and top as if it's a portrait, and then when the correct password is given, this can then swing back and allows just enough space, if you ignore the fact that her arm is sticking out there, for the figures to get inside. We've then got a carpet here in the same colours as the tiles at the entrance, and then we've got the beginnings of a fireplace, and there'll be some other furniture to fill up this space over here. So yeah, I did quite a bit of experimentation to get this portrait. Obviously there was that sticker that came in the Hogwarts staircase gift with purchase, which I didn't end up getting because there weren't any Harry Potter sets I wanted. And also with that, even though it's a great sticker, it's the first version of the Fat Lady, which isn't my favourite, much prefer the Dawn French version. And also it was on a piece that wouldn't actually allow you to open it. And I thought, what's the point if you're not going to be able to open it? So here's my version of the Fat Lady, and she can open just like that, just enough space. I think that works perfectly. And yeah, get into the Gryffindor Common Room. Okay, I'm going to do some proper progress on this, get a lot of the walls and things built up because it's quite complicated, and then we'll come back to it and I will maybe go through a few bits of furniture and stuff like that before we get the next floor on. I'm just partway through constructing this first tower, and I just thought I'd show you the inside, as the video on the viaduct entrance hall was quite a while ago. So this is the construction that I've got here. I've got a bunch of brackets, both the upwards and downwards facing ones, and then some bricks with studs on the side. And as you can see, I'm then going to cover the outside with these curved slopes. So they're going to continue around here, and then there's going to be some 2 wide cheese slopes to fill in the gaps there. I'm going to do exactly the same over here. As you can tell, it does require an awful lot of pieces to do, and it is quite a finicky job putting them together. This has already exploded once, but once it's all together, it's actually quite a strong construction. This bit will be secured onto here when the next floor goes on in the next part. So I'm going to carry on, get this finished, get the other tower finished, and then as promised, I'm going to show you the furniture for the interior. Right, finally got to the end of building the second one of the towers. You can see they're shaped up pretty well. They are a little bit loose at the moment. They're already attached at the bottom, but that will get covered later. But I think they're looking pretty good so far. You can see you've got the windows set into them. Obviously, no space for actually anything inside, but I still think they look pretty good. I've also gone ahead, as you may have seen in the previous clip, and continued with the wall. We've got the windows in there. That wall is entirely finished. Done the same thing on the sides. Got a window there and a window over there in the corner. That sticker there is from the Whomping Willow set, where it was actually on the inside of a similar panel. I used Robin Hood Brick's patented hot tea technique to get it onto the other side of the panel. You can see it is coming off ever so slightly, so I might try and fix that. And then behind the Fat Lady on the other side, we've just got another sticker, which I think came from the Great Hall set, you know, just to give a little bit of detail on what would otherwise be a completely blank space. There's also a couple of bricks there with a single stud on the side. Those are going to be used to fix up a couple of banners, and those are going to come from this sticker sheet, which is for the Hogwarts Moment Transfiguration class, which I got a long time ago. It was one of my first ever videos, actually, and I've kept the sticker sheet ever since then with those 2 stickers just there, although I think now I look at it, those are actually bright yellowish orange for those colours on there, but you know what, it's not a big deal. I'm happy to go with a bit of variation. So I'm going to put those on some 1x3 dark red tiles, and I'm also going to work on the fireplace, the sofa, the chair, and a couple of other bits of furniture. So I'll take you through the sofa build now. I was initially inspired by the sofa in the central perk set for this, although I did deviate from that a little bit. One thing I have retained is the use of these slope pieces, or rounded bricks, whatever you want to prefer to call them. These 1x1, they do now come in sort of 1x4, and also those corner pieces. There are a lot of them on the Lion Knight's castle. Just go ahead and use these because they're in dark red, which I think looks really nice. So it's going to be a relatively small sofa. Even though I am calling it a sofa, you really will only be able to fit one figure on there at a time. But I think that's all there really was space for here. So the base is just going to be a 2x6 and a 1x6 in dark red. And then on top of that, we're going to put 2 of these modified plates or tiles with the 2 studs on them, just so that we've got somewhere to attach the figures. They're going to go on either side like that. And then we're going to need some bricks in dark red. So these are 1x3s, and they're going to go at the end. One there and one there, followed by one 1x4. Now I got these kind of a mixture of used and new. It's not the seller's fault. There is just a little bit of variation. I don't know if you can see on the camera between the dark reds there. So I'm just trying to work out which one. Yeah, I think the bottom one there is the closest match. Not that I'm too fussed about it, because the sofas in the common room are supposed to be kind of worn out, but that wouldn't be a deliberate thing there. And then another 1x6 along the back, just to raise up the rear, and then a lot of these 1x1 slopes. I just think these look really nice. They make things look a little cozy. I am actually just going to be really picky. Going to turn them around so the mould marks in them are facing forwards. Something I've noticed more and more with Lego, especially recently, is mould marks. I can't remember seeing them at all on pieces when I was younger, although that may just have been me not focusing as much on them. The reason I'm putting them forward is that we're actually going to see the back of the sofa most of the time. So I figure it makes sense to just have them facing away from the viewing angle. And I'm just going to put the better sides facing out here as well. So there we go. There we've got a little sofa, nice and simple. As I said, only really fit one figure on there, maybe with an accessory next to them. I did originally think of making this a little bit longer, and maybe I will do in the future. But for the moment, I think that that's a pretty good representation of the main sofa in the common room. And as you can see here, I've actually left some studs, some mixture of tiles and modified tiles and plates, and that leaves enough studs in the middle that I can just plonk this right in the middle, and you can't see the rest of the studs. So there, that sits on the rug, the carpet there, quite nicely, and that's going to be right in front of the fireplace, which I will get to in a moment. But I'm going to build one other bit of furniture, and that is going to be the armchair that's going to match this one. So it's very similar building techniques, although I've actually included feet on this one. So 2x4 and a 1x4. And then I'm going to use another one of those modified tiles / plates. I'm never quite sure what to call them. So it's going to be done in a similar way, like that. And, oh, in fact, I've put that in the wrong place, or rather the wrong way round. Yeah, like that. That looks a bit better. And then we're going to need some plates. Just 1x2s here. Just using my design on the computer there, and then these look fairly similar, so those are going to act as the back. This is actually very similar to the Professor Trelawney's chair from the Transfiguration classroom. Just went with a similar design just because I think it looks quite nice. Now this one's actually going to be facing that way, so I think we can get away with putting the mold marks on the back. In fact, I got that wrong. I need to follow my own design. I'm going to put that one like that, and then these, obviously not paying attention, those building those turrets really took it out of me, clearly. And then like that, and then for the arms we're going to need some bricks. No, we're not. We're going to put these straight onto there. This is mainly so that the minifigure arms can actually fit over the top here, because otherwise they would have a little bit of trouble sitting down. So there we go. And then got a huge amount of bags here with all the different pieces in. We'll just need 4 of these reddish brown 1x1 round plates, and they'll just act as the feet. Decided not to go with feet for the sofa just because it's plonked straight onto the carpet, and I think the one, if I remember rightly, the one at the studio tour is kind of squashed down. Put that one on wrong as well. Okay, yeah, there we go. Nice little armchair. Feel free to steal the design if you think it's even worth that. It's not particularly complicated. And then that's going to go next to the sofa. It's actually just going to go there. And there we go. So yeah, we're starting to have a nice little area. Stop these studs from rolling away. Nice little area around the fireplace. But of course, we're going to need that fireplace. So I'm going to go ahead and put things in for that now. There we've got a nice fire roaring in the fireplace, and here we have the finished fireplace construction. I've just used the pentagonal tile there, which is stickered from the, I believe it's the flying lesson set that has a set of all 4 house tiles, so happy to be able to use that. Just a very simple build with some filler bricks on the back and a couple of these scroll bricks here, and that's just going to go there, and that goes all the way up to the full height of the building, and then, or the full height of the floor I should say, and is then going to have the next 4 put over the top to just secure it in place. I'm now just thinking, I do have a tile, stickered tile from the 2010 Hogwarts, which shows Sirius in the fire. So I'm wondering if I might be able to fix that to the back there, or as an alternate thing. Anyway, that's something I'll look at for the future. Right, I'm going to crack on and get the next few things done, just because I realise this video is going on quite a long time, and obviously want to get through this, get this finished, and then show you the finished product. And there we are, that's everything finished and built. I just need to put it in place. So you can see the banners I put on there. Yes, they don't quite match the tile there, but that's absolutely fine. I've done a tiny little chessboard there. It's just 4 studs with a single white nano fig on there. But I think it goes some way to just showing what that's meant to be. Over here, you might have noticed before, I put one of these 2x4 modified plates as a kind of double jumper, and onto that is going to be going this desk. Now, this is a direct copy of the one from the Hermione polybag. I've just used these bar holder pieces, and then I've put a quill in an ink pot, and then a blank piece of parchment. Might swap that out for something detailed later. So let's see if I can get that onto both clips at once. Yeah, there we go, and then we can just kind of tilt it a little bit, and then we've just got a desk there so someone can be doing their homework. Need a chair just with 4 studs underneath it. I realise that does make it very difficult to get into the common room, but you know, it's Lego, there's got to be some compromises there, and that can still swing shut, which is great. And then as a couple of other bits of furniture, just a small bookcase made in a similar way to how I've done them before, just with these modified bricks with 2 studs on the side, and then tiles in the centre where they meet. Plate with a rail there just to show a book sticking out, and a single candle, and that's just going to go in the back corner there, so you can still see out of the window, but it just gives some more detailing. In fact, I might move the candle one over just so it so it doesn't set fire to the banner, as it were. And then the final thing here is just a little cabinet, again built very simply, bunch of headlight bricks with some 1x2 jumpers on the front to represent drawers, and then also I've got a little lamp here. I'm just using a tap piece, so maybe it's a kind of gas lamp or something like that. And then this build here is meant to represent the radio, or the wireless, if you want to call it that, which is, I kind of tried to copy it as best as possible. This tile here, I think actually first came in a motorbike set. I've definitely had ones before, and yeah, it's a very simple construction there, just using a minifig neck bracket in reddish brown. Nice little detail there. I've also constructed this with a 2x4 plate at the bottom, and that's for the simple reason that I'm going to put it here, and it's actually going to hold, knock things over in the first place, I'll put that back in a second, actually holds these 2 plates together here because they were only connected at the back. These plates are connected by the carpet, and then this is just one big plate here. So that's everything pretty secure there. The only thing that remains is to join this up and put the floor on top. Just got this construction here using a few different plates, and that goes there. I've actually really started to like this type of construction. It's a lot stronger than I thought it was, and it just means you get a nice uninterrupted view of the common room like that. And then on top of that, we've actually got a similar selection of plates as we had down below, and just checking my plan, I actually need to go in a slightly different order, but we will start with the 8x16. I'm running a slight risk doing this on camera, so if things explode, I may need to go back to the drawing board. And then up next, we actually have the 6x8, which is going to go there. 100% sure why I designed it with the place in that order, but I did. And then the 8x8 on the end there. As I mentioned, these are still a little bit loose, so what I'm actually going to do is put some temporary bricks in place just to hold everything together, make sure nothing breaks. But there we go, that is my finished Gryffindor Common Room. I'm pretty happy with that. I've managed to get quite a lot of Gryffindor insignia there with those banners, the shield, and then the other banner at the back, which is a little bit difficult to see because of the light. That's a bit better. And then there's plenty of details there, so you can actually fit a couple of figures in this area, another figure over there, possibly some more walking around. So that's the first level of Gryffindor House finished, and next time we'll be doing the next layer up here, which will be the dormitory. So I'm going to do the boys' dormitory, as it's the place that we see most often, and I'm really looking forward to that. I've got a nice little design for the four-poster beds, which I think is a really good design, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that in the bricks. I'll just do one final thing, which is to bring over the divination classroom build from last time, pop it here, and you can just get a view down the corridor towards the portrait of the fat lady. Quickly, before I show you that viewpoint, I have done some amendments to this. So what I've actually done is completely, well, not completely changed, but I've actually found the missing 2x3 dark tan plates, put them in. I've added a layer of reddish brown on top just to make things a little bit more secure. I've bumped up the amount of stuff that's actually on here, and I've found a slightly different way of attaching the lantern, so it's in a slightly different place, and also a slightly more ornate way of fixing it. But anyway, let's get this lined up here. I've not done any pins here, just because this is all going to be held in place by the lower level when I do build that. So let's get down to the right level. And there we go, we can see the corridor. It is a little bit dark down there, but you should be able to just see the fat lady at the end of it. It really won't focus, I think, because it's kind of dark, but it's nice that that is a feature. I have to say, though, the torch, the brazier, is kind of getting in the way, unfortunately, so I might have to move that, but let's just pop it out for the time being. There we go, at the end of the corridor, it looks perfect. Also popped in a grandfather clock, not sure if I mentioned that last time. So there we go, that is the Gryffindor Common Room. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe for the next part, where I'll be building the dormitory on top. Leave a like on the video or a comment to let me know what you think, or if there are any changes that can be made, and I will see you again in the next video. Thank you very much. Have a good one.